Hey everybody, how you doing? The rising building costs are something that I'm going to talk about again because they're continuing to rise. So I'm going to share with you what we have kind of come up with for a game plan here, because it's really hard to deal with this stuff once you get too far down the line, as opposed to kind of heading something off at the pass and talking about things a lot up front, especially with the changing and pricing with building and how drastically it's changing almost literally from day to day. So what we're going to start doing, when I meet with somebody, and we're going to talk about budget too. So if you're building a spec home, this is something that you can do that's going to help your budget. So even if you're not working with customers yet, I'll have something in there for you building spec homes as well. But when I meet with a customer, say I'm meeting with somebody today, it could be 2 months, 3 months, depending on how custom, how much work is going to go into this, between the time that I give them an initial price and the time that we're going to have a contract that's going to go to the bank. So the first thing that I need to do when I meet with somebody is let them know that the pricing that I'm going to give you right now is really only good for today. and not to sound smart alecky or try to turn them off, and maybe it can be said in a different way, but just kind of want the client to understand that literally day by day, I mean, if we get a quote for lumber today and then we get a quote for lumber on the exact same house 3 days from now, it could be and probably will be different. And the reason being is, right now we spoke with our lumber company yesterday. There's an issue with getting I-joists. Those are the floor joists that you're building the house on. And if there's issues getting I-joists, so yeah, they're already expensive. We're already paying the high costs for it. But now if the lumber company is having issues finding these floor joists, well, what is that going to do? Supply, demand, it's just going to continue to skyrocket things. So if they've got a full inventory of I-joists today and they deliver 4 jobs worth of lumber in the next 3 days, and now Friday I'm looking for a new bid, they don't even have the I-joists there. They're trying to look around and see where they can get them. Oh, they found some, but they're going to have to pay more for them. My bid for the exact same house is going to be more on Friday than it is today. So it seems crazy to say, because it used to be you were fine for, I would say, about 30 days once you got pricing from the lumber company. Hey all, real quick, I just wanted to mention that my consulting membership site is live as of last night. I'm super excited about this. I think this is something that will definitely be a good tool and benefit for somebody who is already building a spec home and wants to kind of expand their business, or somebody that is just kind of getting into things, doesn't know where to start, but wants to build a spec home and sell that home. And there's going to be lots of cool stuff on this site, including live Q&A. There's a community area so you can interact with other would-be and startup builders that are maybe in your area or other areas of the country to kind of compare stories, compare pricing, things like that. I'll be adding new videos, weekly videos that I'm not putting on YouTube, ones that are, I think, a little more detailed maybe than the ones I do on YouTube. I'll have some bonus content videos that I put on there. I've got a ton of, like a lot outline checklist for purchasing a lot, selections form, a budget form, an example budget form filled in, a sales process form, lots of forms on there, and I'll continue to just build it out and keep making it better. So if that's something you think you'd be interested in, I'll put the links for the membership site in the description below. Okay, back to the video. But it's just not the case anymore. So what we need to do is let the client know that the price that we're giving you right now is ever changing, and what we need to do is update you. I would say every couple of weeks would be nice. It's kind of hard to do that because you got to send out and get a new quote. I mean, there's a lot of time and effort that is going to be spent going into that. So if you can just let the client know that things are going to continue to rise, this is what the price is now today. It could take us 2 to 3 months before we're at a point where we've got a building contract ready to go to the bank. The prices are most likely, almost for sure, going to change between that time period. So just know that when we're getting close to, we've got blueprints, we're kind of getting close to being able to give everything to the bank and hone in on that amount, put the building contract together, just know that we're going to need to adjust that price amount when it becomes time to give that to the bank. Because if I'm giving you a price today and 2 months go by, or even just a month goes by, then the price is going to be different. We've got to be completely current when we give our contract to the bank. Now, here's the hard part. In addition to that, yes, we're signing a contract for a certain amount and we're giving it to the bank. The bank could take 30 days, sometimes 45, sometimes it's been 60 days. And then you go in for permit. I mean, it could be 2 months from the time that the contract goes to the bank until the time that you need lumber. So the hard part is now letting the client know, and this is something that's going to have to get put into the contract, that, okay, we just adjusted the price. We're current with where we are today. We're giving everything to the bank, but we're going to need to adjust if the prices do continue to increase with lumber. If they don't, if they stay still, we won't have to do this, but if they continue to increase like they have been for the past however many months, by whatever the percentage is, we're going to have to do another price increase. And there's some gray area here, because if we give a contract to the bank, and let's just say there aren't good comparables for this house in the first place. Building costs are already high. So let's say the house doesn't appraise out. Maybe appraises out for $20,000 less than what the building contract is. So the client now has to make up the difference. They've got to pay that $20,000 difference. So now we're telling them that if the prices continue to go up between now, the time that you just paid the $20,000 shortage because of the appraisal, and the time that we drop the lumber, prices are going to be subject to change again, and you're going to have to pay that out of pocket because the house didn't appraise out in the first place. So the bank certainly isn't going to help with anything there. So we're really getting into some gray area here. And bottom line is, what that means is that the client is going to need to be able to have access to extra funds. And God willing, we don't have to use that. Once they close on the construction loan, that price that we had, if lumber doesn't continue to go up, which I believe that not to be the case. I see no signs right now. I know people have said, oh, the lumber futures are down, but that's still a couple of months out. And, the lumber companies already own all the lumber that they have right now. So the lumber futures coming down a little bit, I mean, that's a good thing because it hasn't happened in a while, but there's no benefit right now for the lumber companies, for us, for anybody with that happening. Maybe that's a good sign for the future, but there's no way to say that, okay, this is a good sign, things are going to stop going up. There's no way to know that or to say that that's going to happen. And that's coming from not big lumber. I talked about them before, but the lumber companies, the local lumber yards. These guys aren't in control of the flow of lumber that's coming out of the mills. They're getting the lumber, they're putting it together, they're sending it out to us. So that's where the gray area really is. If we've got to tell somebody that not only do we need to raise your price right now so that we can give the contract to the bank, but then once the bank is done doing their thing, between the time that we raised your price and the time that we need lumber, which again could be 2 months, we're most likely going to have to adjust the price again. Now, you're going to have some type of a cap in there. It can't just be open-ended. However, we don't know. I mean, what if lumber goes up $40,000 between now and 2 months from now? Somebody's at the bank right now, we've got current price, and lumber goes up by $40,000 between now and the time that we need lumber dropped. Well, it's kind of hard for us as a builder to set a cap and say, not to exceed this amount of dollars, because, if that happens, then we're going to be in a situation where we can't build the house. And so I guess there needs to be maybe some type of a cap in the contract, but then also some type of verbiage that says that, we as the builder, if the amount exceeds, X amount of dollars above the mentioned cap additional allowance in the contract, that the client has to pay, that we, the builder, have the right to to not move forward, or the buyer, the client has the ability to not only contribute what is called out in the contract for additional costs, but contribute even more than that so that we can move ahead. So that's how we're going to handle the pricing. Basically just letting people know that what it is today is not what it is tomorrow or next week. Our current base price list that we have is pretty much meaningless because it's always going up. So now if you're building a spec home and you're doing your budget, the one thing you need to be conscious of is that you're getting your budget now, and you may not be getting lumber dropped on your site and ready to use lumber for 3 to 4 months from now. Realistically, you're getting your bid now, but then everything's going to go to the bank. It's going to take a month to close there. Maybe it takes 2 weeks for the permit, and then another few weeks before you're ready for lumber. So if you've got a 3 to 4 month time period between the time you're getting your bid for lumber and the time that you need it, this is what I suggest that you do. So get the current bid for what it is today. You want to know what it is going to be today. But then have the lumber company give you a bid. Give them a projected drop date. So if today is May 26th and you're not expecting to use lumber until July 15th, let them know that you want a bid for what the lumber is today, but then you also want a bid accounting for the fact that I'm going to have lumber dropped on July 15th. So give me a price based off of what the price is going to be July 15th. Now, they don't know exactly what that's going to be for sure. Again, it could go up $40,000. But if they use what the past history of what it's gone up per month, let's say, 10, 15, 20% a month, then you can take today's date, you can go out a full month, another half a month, and you can kind of calculate what the lumber will cost then. Now, if you're at a point in which you can take the lumber before then, well, then that's great. You're going to come in under what your amount is on the budget sheet. And kind of going back to where I started here, so you're getting a number for what lumber is today. But then the number that you're getting for the June 15th drop day, that's the one you want to put in your budget, because realistically, that's what you're going to be paying. If it doesn't end up getting to that price, well, then you're doing great, you're under budget, but you don't want to have $50,000 allotted for lumber in your budget, and then you get it delivered and it's actually $70,000, $75,000. Your construction loan that you got for the spec loan is for the amount of what the build cost is. Well, now there's a $25,000 difference with the build cost, so now you've got to come up with that amount out of pocket, and that's not ideal. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Hang in there if you're a builder. The housing market has ups and downs. No biggie. We can, and we're not even in a down right now. It's just crazy pricing. So if you don't subscribe, please do so. Hit the little bell for notifications so you're notified of more videos like this. Have a great rest of the day.